All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we are. We are live. And again, the Provoke Coach podcast brings another awesome speaker, right? We're going to be speaking together with me and this guy on stage on Saturday, okay, the 25th of September. So it's coming right up. Hopefully, you got your tickets already. But look, Raymell Bentley, thank you so much for being on our podcast, man. It's great to have you.
My pleasure. It's an honor to just be here and to have this amazing exchange that we're going to have today.
That's awesome. And I always, and I think I say this all the time. Some of the communication that we had and the conversation that we had prior to going live is always some of the best stuff because it's always just two real people, figuring things out and catching up and going all through that. But look, I know a lot of people that are watching you right now. A lot of your followers are probably watching right now and will listen later on down the road. Talk to us, because there's going to be some people that don't know who you are, okay? And they don't know, what you do. So can you kind of explain, to everybody, who you are and what it is that you do?
Of course. I am Raymell Bentley. I am an empowerment life coach. And that came about as I started in my journey as a fitness coach. I was a personal trainer for years. And from there, we'll rewind back. I started off as a model. I modeled for many years. And then from there, I got into the fitness world. And I realized that I was helping people physically, but a lot of my clients, they got the biggest takeaway was mentally. They gained strength in their mental. So that's where I'm like, and I like to talk, and our sessions wound up being counseling sessions versus physical sessions. So that's where I got certified as a life coach. And now I'm just helping others see the powers that are inside of them and helping them create lives that they are in love with.
That's awesome. So how long have you been doing life coaching? I mean, and do you do both then now, or are you just doing transformational coaching?
I've been life coaching over 3 years. I do some fitness, but more so I have my own fitness app. So I do it more online based. I've learned that trading time for money, you only are limited to what you can make. So I've learned to create other ways to free yourself of that time where you can generate more money.
Well, not only that, but you get to do what you love to do more, right? Like, and there's not just the financial, part, of the business. So that's awesome. So where do you see yourself, you think, in the future? I mean, is this something that, are you going to do other things coming up in the future? Is there other additives that you're looking for as well?
In the future, I will be traveling the world, sharing this knowledge, helping others see the gifts that are inside of them, and really just pouring into them and using my gifts to show them that we're all powerful beings. So in the future, that's what I definitely see is me traveling the world and just sharing knowledge and giving people ways to work with me.
Awesome. And obviously with your background and, and we'll talk about, kind of the steps throughout that process, with modeling, do you find that now that you have the speaking part and the modeling, is your presentation now a little bit different because of that background that you had? And now you're mixing in your knowledge of what you're gaining as a life coach? Because that's kind of what I see. But is that kind of the direction that you're taking?
It's definitely different. I, as a model, that was just something that you kind of created a character depending on what company or brand you were working with. But for me, one thing that I ran into a roadblock with was it came to the commercial side. So I would go on auditions for like commercial campaigns, and I would just stutter or freeze up because with modeling, you're just standing there and you're just like a hanger that they put clothes on. But when you're in front of the camera speaking, I didn't really have that strength. So now me as a public speaker going into just commercial auditions, I've just breezed through them because I have the confidence to really use my voice and let it be heard.
Well, and that's interesting that you said that, you kind of had a tough time when the camera was on because you're a model, right? So the camera was always on you. Was it more that you just didn't speak, right? Like it was more of the physical modeling. I mean, what happened there?
Well, when you're doing print work, which is just photographs, you're not speaking. They just put the clothes on you. They put you at a location. They tell
Right.
you to work your angles. Or if you're on the runway, you're just walking down the runway wearing the clothes. When you're doing the commercial auditions or commercial just gigs, now you have to be this image and you have to be this character, but live, instead of you just being a still version of what it is.
Right. Right. Yeah, that's interesting that you say that. But now you're adding those two superpowers together. So I guess I would have to ask you, how did you get over, stuttering and kind of being shy when, you were speaking and stuff like that? Like, where did that come from then? Because you don't go from not saying anything to, literally presenting yourself in front of, an audience.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's like anything that you want to gain strength in. I had to hire a coach. So I found mentors that did what I wanted to do. And I was like a sponge and I just soaked up as much knowledge from them. And I invested into programs. I am working under one of the top like public motivational speakers, Lisa Nichols, and I took her program, did her additional like events, coaching program. Now I'm like one of her mentors for her other public speakers. I did a program called Toastmasters that allowed me to utilize the techniques that I learned from Lisa Nichols. And from there, I won like my first 6 months in Toastmasters. They had an international speaking competition, and everyone just told me like, you should do it, you should do it. And I didn't know anything about it. I went and entered and I won first place. 6 months in,
nice.
People who were like 10 years plus in, but it just shows when you do the work and just really put that effort in, you never know what can come out of it.
100%. I mean, that's powerful that you did that. Like, you went literally from stumbling and fumbling, because I've been there. Like when I started in corporate America, a part of what we needed to do as vice presidents was really presenting in front of an audience. And I froze up, I stuttered, I fumbled. And, being in the fitness industry, you do carry a bit of confidence with you. You work out, you take care of yourself. So there was all this physical power that I had, right, over my body. And I guess you were clearly a model. So, that specimen was quite a bit different than what I was dealing with. But you had that extreme confidence. And then now you're thrown into something that was, uncharted waters for you, a bit. Like you said, you didn't open your mouth. They just hung clothes on you to look good, stand there, look good. Let's get, boom, 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 boom. Wow, that's super powerful. So where did all this come from? Like, why did you feel the need that you needed to get extremely uncomfortable in that situation? Because here you are, a model, you're a fitness trainer. I mean, that's a pretty good gig going on right there. What kind of led you to life coaching and transformation, and what led you to that?
With the upbringing that I had and just what I've experienced on my own journey, me not having my parents active in my life, me having just things happen in my childhood, from being physically abused, first verbally abused, sexually abused. And I had so many things happen to me that even when I got into the modeling world, that confidence that I eventually gained, I didn't have in the beginning. I've always been an attractive person, but I didn't believe that. So even with the highlights of what I would get for the physical part of who I was, the internal didn't connect with that. And that's where I felt like I was kind of being an imposter in a sense, to where it's like I am playing this role of being this confident being who's taking these amazing photos. But behind that and behind closed doors, I was doubting myself. And when you go, especially in the modeling world, when I've gotten to in the beginning, you're around a bunch of beautiful people.
Right.
So you're thinking like, how am I going to out compete this person who's going for the same campaign? And they look, if not the same, what I would think better than me. And that's where the confidence of that younger version who had all those things happen was always an up and down battle of believing in myself, not believing in myself, and really knowing that it was possible. So as I got into the modeling, got into the fitness, I realized that I wanted to help others really truly connect with that just higher power that's inside of them, to really have that confidence and know that they can do anything in life that they put their minds to.
100%. Wow. And I guess let's kind of roll that back a little bit. I mean, now that we're really kind of on that subject of what really, I guess, from the gut inspired you. But, let's talk about that. So, here you are, getting into modeling, but before that, had a bit of an upbringing. I mean, do you mind talking about, any of that to kind of, or any provoking moments throughout there that really are helping you now, I guess, in life, or helping you now in your journey that, maybe kind of pivot, or provoked you, I guess, in a way?
Yeah, growing up with just not having that image of that mother and father that's your security and just that backbone to really help support you on your journey in life. I've lived a lot of my life really being like just feeling unsafe, unheard, unloved, unseen. So I just was like a lost soul trying to find where was home. And that's where I did a lot of things that were not really for the best of my like just well-being. And I found myself trying to find attention from just outside things and places and people to really make me feel what I didn't. And that was my way of coping in life. So where I even got into like just hanging out with crowds that were just living the fast life and just doing things that I knew at the time wasn't right, but it was some kind of family that I've connected with, and I felt like they heard me, they loved me, they seen me. So that's what I latched on to. And after I really started to, I think I was at my lowest point where I was like staying in the hood, like the hood, with a friend that took me in because I didn't have anywhere to go. And I was like, broke. I was so broke. Like I had like maybe 25 cents in my pockets. And I just like, I really surrendered. I said, God, there has to be something more to life than what I am experiencing, because there's no way that you brought me in this earth for me just to be at this point and just not have anything else that I'm supposed to experience. And from there, something shifted inside of me, and I was provoked to just really explore, like, you already are at your lowest. So what's on the other side of this? And what will you need to do to see and experience that? So that's when I just started to shed people. I started to shed just surroundings that I was around. And I had to really connect with that just higher just spirit and just presence that's inside of me that allowed me to be guided to different coaching mentors and just different things that allowed me to become this person who I am today.
Wow, that's awesome. So, I mean, how'd you get out though? I guess that's really the big question. I mean, you mean just wake up one day? Did something happen to where you're just like, enough is enough? Because usually when I ask this question, I mean, I get different answers every time. Sometimes it's like random shit. Like, I went to the gas station, saw a buddy of mine. He was doing better than me and he's an idiot. So I decided, hey, why not? Like I've heard some real, strange stories. What happened with you?
I think for me, I think the pivotal, I was sleeping in my car because I was homeless, but I was a mobile homeless, meaning that I would just like take showers at the gym, but I had a vehicle and I would give people rides for like gas and have money to eat. And I was sleeping in my car one night and I'm like, yo, like you need some security. And that was like my aha to like enroll into school, do something that's going to like elevate and educate you, that's going to like really get you a different skill that you can put to use. And from there, I went to a tech school for medical billing and coding. Never utilized that certification at all, but it just kind of got the ball rolling for me to do something that was outborn for me, but it let me know that I had the abilities to learn the skill and really commit and stick to something. So from there, that kind of opened the door to where I moved to Atlanta when I turned 21. And that's where it's like, it was my new beginning. Like I had a fresh canvas that I was like able to just start and create this new just person. And from there, I just started to work. I worked like 3 jobs and I actually got into modeling in Atlanta. I was like,
Nice.
some people were like, you are attractive, you should model, you should model. And I'm like, whatever, okay, let me give it a try. And I had a photo shoot. From there, that door just opened and I just like went full throttle. I got featured in the calendar, got booked for all these fashion shows, did a bunch of work there. And then I went to New York and then came to LA and it's just like been uphill from there.
Wow. Wow. You know, but all because, you know, you really took it upon yourself to, you know, like you said, like you didn't use that certification and maybe it didn't even matter. Maybe you didn't want to do that, whatever, doesn't matter. I think people need to hear that. Like, even though you do something, it's like, I don't know if you've ever seen the show like Barter, where they always barter and they trade something up to where it's a bigger value, right? Like you really did that. Like you bartered up, grabbed this, and because you accomplished it, you got a little dopamine hit from that. You got a little like, hey, if I did that, I could do this. And then you did that, maybe it caught on to something bigger and better. And obviously, clearly it did, you know, but you kept moving, right? You kept opting up. And that's powerful. I mean, that's unreal. Well, so the modeling went well. And then what? You got into the physical side of things. You got into the physical training. You got into, you know, owning your own personal training company, right? Like, how did all that go from modeling to that, or do you still do both?
Well, no, I started to I got a bartending gig in between modeling gigs, because one thing about people, and I just definitely want people to know with the modeling world, because everyone wants to be a model, but unless you're this top model, you're not always booking these big campaigns, and you're gonna have those down seasons to where you have to make in between money.
Sure.
So I got a bartending job, which was good because I was able to really get out of my shell and speak to people, hold conversations, and it really allowed me to like kind of be more social. And from there, I realized that, okay, because I always kept my physique up, especially being in LA and me having to be ready for auditions after dropping the dime, that, okay, people seeing that I look good, and I always got compliments and people inquired about like, how did I get this physique? And I'm like, you should get a certification. Like, as that door was already open when I got the medical billing code, and I'm like, well, why not? Like, what can come out of it? So I went and did the certification, got certified. And in between me getting my certification, the thing is, I'm more of a hands-on learner. So I was reading the books and I was doing it online, but I'm like, I need to practice on people before I get certified so I can really have that in-person knowledge. So I got like a couple friends. I'm like, mind if I train you for free just so I can get the like physical part of it, like the skill.
Practice on it.
And from there, people, they found out our personal training. I wasn't even certified like completely at the time. It's like, can you train me? How much would you charge? And I'm like, well, I do got some knowledge and I do know how to work out. So that door kind of opened and I made a lot of money before I even got certified. I'm like, wait, is this the profit that I'll be making once I actually get certified? So I got certified and I was working at my bartending job. So now I'm like, okay, I'm helping people physically and I did it more part-time. But then on the flip side, I'm bartending and I'm getting people wasted and not really helping them like in the way that I like to. So that's where I'm like, okay, something has to give. And I knew that I wanted to be my own boss and I was not meant to work for someone. So I really took a leap of faith. And at this time, I only have 4 in-person clients. And I didn't know how I was going to pay my rent. I just knew I wanted to like work for myself and give it a try. And I put a 2 months notice in at my job. So I'm like, just in case, let me in case I want to like renege, I'll have a little window. Once went on and the time got closer, I'm like, okay, you're gonna do this. Like they already found a replacement for your shifts when you're like leaving, and it's really gonna happen. And from there, I paid for a online coaching, this mentor, and learned how to do online coaching. So from there, once I quit, let's just say within that 2 weeks, I went from 4 in-person training clients to 8. I recruited like 8 online
Nice.
clients. So I doubled the amount that I had once I took that leap and actually like went full throttle.
Yep. Awesome. Wow. You know, and that's amazing. Like but you followed kind of the same principles, right? If you notice, you know, you got a little bit to get the ball rolling and give yourself a little bit of momentum, right? And then, you know, it's powerful that I see it, and hopefully our listeners or viewers are seeing it as well, or hearing it, is that, you know, you seeked education out and understanding and learning, and you've reached out to mentors and coaches to help you maybe where you were a little bit weaker in that regard, so that way you can become better. And that's powerful, because most people don't reach out for help, right? Most people wait till there's a serious problem before they say, all right, I need to find somebody. Right? Like you know, and I'm sure in the fitness world that you've dealt with it. I know in life coaching, you've dealt with it as well, is that we can't wait for something to be broken in order to try to now fix it, right? Or hire somebody to help us fix it. Well, that's fantastic. So, I mean, you know, do you have any other siblings? Do you have any brothers and sisters or anything like that? Yeah. You know, how did they do what you did? Do you know, how is that whole mix going?
I can say, well, I have, because there's a tribe of us. On my mother's side, there's 6 of us. On my father's side, there's 10 of us.
Oh wow! Oh wow!
So there's like a tribe of both parts. But on my mother's side, my youngest sister, she actually got into becoming an entrepreneur. She does hair, and like she has flourished. And I would like to give myself credit of just her seeing how I kind of went full throttle. And because I do have siblings who have taken the alternate route of the entrepreneurs, but not in the way that it's adding contribution to the community and worlds. But I mean, they're still working for themselves, if you call it like that. But she kind of took under my wing in the sense of now she's like building her hair styling business, and she's doing like she wants this styling hair, so now she makes wigs and she sells wigs and she teaches. So I can kind of see the seeds that I planted just by her seeing me kind of expand my business and things that I did, and I see her doing the same in hers. And on my father's side, I have a younger sister who is now inquiring about doing it. So it's just a good reward for me to be able to give her guidance in an effective way to where she feels like she has the support and she has the strength to really go after something that's a dream that's inside of her.
Yeah, and that's awesome. That's awesome. You know, it's always good when, you know, you're kind of, you know, the student becomes the mentor, if you will. You know, a lot of times, you know, we learn different things at different parts of our lives, and sometimes you're the mentor, but sometimes you're the student. And, you know, it's good that, you know, you're still able to take in both, and especially with your siblings as well. Well, I mean, let me ask you, I guess, both in business and I guess in personal, I'm going to ask you a 2-part question. You know, number one, you know, what personal advice do you have for some people out there, you know, that helped you along the way? And then in your business as well, I guess really kind of the same question, you know, what business advice do you have for somebody maybe out there that's, you know, maybe they want to start a business, or they're starting one now, or maybe they're in a rough spot business wise?
Personal advice I would give to someone is we all have a purpose for being in this earth or being in this world. And often we feel like we don't, and we settle for things in life, and we tend to give up before we even try because we just are taught these beliefs, are passed down these beliefs from people who have never chased a dream. And when you really have that privilege to discover what your purpose is, you realize that you have so many gifts. Because I've seen this quote and it really applied. It says that our assignment is to discover our gifts, and our purpose is to share those gifts with the world. And really, 100%. Once you realize that you have so many gifts, we have so many talents that we were equipped with, And once you really start to take time to discover yours, you don't look at others and envy them or think that it's impossible to get to the level of what we see these celebrities, athletes, and entertainers. And you really know that you have the same ability to really make things happen, that you want to just become your reality. So truly take time to just really sit with yourself and see like, what gifts do I want to share with the world, and just go after it. If it's something that you don't have much knowledge on how to make it become something that you can profit off of, get coaches, get mentors, get guidance, because there's so much knowledge out here in the world, and the universe is really a university. Every day we learn, every day we have the opportunity to really gain a new just way of seeing things. And once you really allow yourself to be open to that, you discover that there's no limit to what you can do in life. And business wise, I would say change your surroundings and be around people who are out here investing in themselves. Because for me, that was the game changer. Granted, I had a lot of knowledge and I took action to get mentors, but the thing that really took me from zero to 100 was being around other like-minded people, creating masterminds. There's power in numbers. There's power with people who are like-minded, who have different skills that you don't, but you guys can collectively come together and you can learn from, and you could teach them, and you guys continue to expand that way and know that you can't do it alone. That was one of the biggest mistakes that I made, was trying to be a one-man show. And I tried to do so many things on my own, and I limited myself to what I could do as far as profit, as far as expansion. And once I started to really collaborate with other people, it really lit something up in me that showed me that you don't have to do this alone. And once you get into the world of really, especially the entrepreneur world, it can be lonely. It can feel lonely because you don't have, when you're around friends who work a 9 to 5 or just are in that settled mentality, they don't understand what it is to really go after a dream or pursue something. So they may talk you down or talk you out of something that you really want to do. But when you're around other like-minded people, they're going to encourage you. They're going to say, give it a try. You know what? I know someone that can do with that. And you're going to get so much just advice and guidance that you can really excel, grow, and expand and flourish, because it's really about the service, and the money is always the gift and the reward for the service that we provide.
100%. Wow. You know, and you said something that was cool, is that you said the universe is really a university. You know, that's powerful for people right now, because I think that it's so powerful what you said, because it is, because we're consuming things all the time right now. Just, you know, we're consuming things. So you're right. The universe is a university for that person that's listening out there right now. And I'm sure that even like you and I were talking about, sitting in our rocking chairs 20 years from now, and somebody's listening to this podcast going, wow, yeah, they're right. Well, yeah, we were right 20 years ago. Right now, you know, it is. And then, I mean, from a business standpoint, surround yourself with better people. That's how you bring your business up. That is how you level up. I've noticed that. Like, the more coaches and my peeps that I get around, like my level goes up a little bit. Like, if Raymell is posting something, like, I might get the TikTok out and be like, look, dude, this guy can't one up me. Like, by the way, like, I wouldn't try that, but but it kind of gets your wheels turning. And I think in business, that's extremely important, because we need stimulation in business in order to know truly who that consumer is out there. Because who's the consumer? Us. We are the consumer, right? Of, you know, the universe is a university. Well, man.
And real quick, I want to share this about like using your gifts, because speaking of TikTok, one of my gifts is I dance. I've danced. That's like my first love and passion. That was a gift that I didn't really share with the world. And just one day I created a video of me dancing, and it was not even, I didn't think much into it. That video has over 150K views, over like 29,000 likes and reshares. And It's just you don't know, which brought more following, more traction, more attention to me and me as a coach in my service that I provide.
Yeah.
And you never know what gift will really take you up there. And you just don't downplay any gift that you have that you just may think, oh, that's not going to do much. You never know until you try.
Well, and you know, it's so funny that you said that, because I was having this conversation with, you know, this marketing guru, right? And a phenomenal, like we were talking about mentors when it comes to marketing. People are attracted to the most different things and the most different talents, but they got to be genuine. And or family, right? Like it's got to be either, you know, your loved ones. Because I mean, look, if I share a picture of my wife or my daughter or my dogs on my social media, it'll blow up like crazy. But if I post something that I really want people to see, it's like crickets, you know, because it's maybe not as genuine in their eyes as a consumer, right? Even though it's genuine for me, because I just want that content to get out to help people. But what's more genuine is, like, you're right, like your hidden talents that you didn't think anybody was going to care. You know, like that's exciting. Like the first time I got on TikTok, I got on and was dancing with my daughter. And I mean, it was getting rave views. And I'm just like, oh my God, like I'm horrible at dancing. Like that's the worst. That was the most uncomfortable feeling that I ever had. You know, it wasn't good. And then boom, you know, it got traction, like you said, and it moved. And look, if you're like me, and I know you are, I don't care what I have to do to attract attention to my mission to help people. And it sounds like that's exactly who you are as well. And, you know, look, dude, you and I could talk all day long about this, and we will. This weekend, on Saturday, right, we get to share the stage together. We get the champions dinner. We got all sorts of awesome stuff going on. Raymell, I'm going to have you stick around just for a minute as I let everybody else off. But ladies and gentlemen, if you like this, story, please share it, send it, like it, hit the button, comment, do whatever you got to do. Just show some love. And, you know, look, remember, provoke positive change in people. And then, of course, your peak performance as well. So thank you so much, Raymell. We appreciate you. I appreciate everybody listening as well. And we will see you on Saturday.